All right, the president had a field day zinging his predecessor, but something else could zing them if this Georgia case falls apart. The Fulton County District Attorney Fani Willis admitted to having an affair and an ongoing relationship with a prosecutor. She chose to look into all of this. She says nothing untoward or illegal was going on. They're standing by her so far to keep the case going. Obviously, the Trump legal folks are saying enough is enough. The case has got to be dropped. Katie Cherkasky following this and all the other cases that could be delayed or maybe, I guess, Katie, denied. What do you think?
Well, the Georgia case is definitely running into some issues for Fani Willis. It's never a good thing for a prosecutor to be in a defensive position, and that's exactly where she's found herself at this point. There's going to be an official hearing by the judge to determine if she did have some sort of conflict of interest and what that means for the case, because there are various remedies the judge could issue, including potentially dismissing the case, although there are lesser remedies that could result from that. But at this point, it's still all pending, but not looking very good for Ms. Willis.
You know, you and I were just chatting not too long about these other cases, and there's a good shot, if one of them isn't dropped, there's a good shot that all could be delayed until after the election. I don't know how likely that is, but explain.
Well, all of these cases are on their own trajectory, but they all have issues that are presenting that seem to be getting in the way of them going to trial before the election. And again, I think that it was really optimistic to think that they could all go to trial and get to a full verdict before the election. There are many things that come up in the course of litigation, and ultimately a criminal defendant has the speedy trial right. If they're not exercising the right for a speedy trial and they need more time for preparation, then certainly that's going to be honored in most circumstances. So I think that it's looking like less likely that any of these cases will reach a verdict before the election.
And what would that mean to Donald Trump?
Well, with the federal cases, if Donald Trump is elected, he will get rid of the federal cases. That's pretty much a foregone conclusion at this point. There's a question about the Georgia prosecution because it is a state case. The president cannot cancel a state prosecution, but there are issues related to that case that the Supreme Court is going to be looking at that could certainly impact that and may even get to the point where that case can no longer proceed because of immunity issues, essentially. Or
that it's dropped because of the whole Fani Willis thing, right?
And that's the other big consideration here, right, for sure.
Now, I know you're a great lawyer, but it looks like Donald Trump is a pretty astute, politician because he has scored off of these cases, even the president calling him the sick F. I got to keeping repeating this because I know what I'll say and I'll be in all sorts of trouble. My bosses say, Neil, did you really say? Anyway, Donald Trump apparently is fundraising off of that, the sick F comment. He can fundraise off of any of this stuff. What do you make of that?
I think he's capitalizing on the fact that the deep state is going after him very hard, and I think a lot of Americans see that. These prosecutions are unprecedented to a large degree. A lot of the statutes they're using to go after him, they've never before been seen in this type of setting. So a lot of people are very dubious about these allegations, and obviously it's reflecting in the polls.
Got it. Katie, thank you very much. Katie Cherkasky, following that, the former federal prosecutor. Thanks. I'm glad I'm done with that because if I had repeated sick F one more time, well, the lawyers would be calling.
I'm Steve Doocy.
I'm Brian Kilmeade.
And I'm Ainsley Earhart. And click here to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page to catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis.